So the Minnesota Vikings had one of the most magical seasons of 2024, but even after having a near perfect regular season, they had an early playoff exit and things kind of fell apart right at the end, and they decided to move forward with a new QB and trust in who they drafted in JJ McCarthy from Michigan. This was a move that honestly was not talked about nearly enough this offseason, because how JJ plays this year is going to have such a huge impact on the landscape of the NFL and specifically the landscape of the NFC North. McCarthy had to open up his career as a starter in Chicago on Monday Night Football. All eyes were on him, and what he showed was just so impressive. It's one thing to just go into a game and have everything go your way and just dominate from start to finish, and honestly, sometimes with that there is nothing to even take away from the game, but it's another thing to struggle out of the gate, not be in a rhythm, and on the road lead your team to a heroic comeback in your first game ever. JJ McCarthy did what many rookies have failed to do over and over again, and all of a sudden, the Vikings just raised a ton of eyebrows. Are they Super Bowl contenders again? I guess only time will tell. They have a lot to prove, but I did not expect the Vikings to pull off the comeback that they did. I guess the Bears are just gonna bear, but still, nonetheless, this was an outstanding display of just staying with it and striking when you get an opportunity, and in this video, I want to talk all about how the Vikings got their Week 1 win, the standout players and the stats, all the good news, and I want to also preview this matchup coming up against the Falcons on Sunday Night Football, which as of this recording is just about 24 hours away. But before I begin, I would really appreciate it if you would drop a like and subscribe. It only takes 5 seconds, plus you can always change your mind. We are on the road to 60,000 subscribers, and with your support, I believe that we can get there super fast. Alright, so the Vikings secured a pretty dramatic Week 1 comeback win over the Chicago Bears. They rallied in the fourth quarter to get that 27-24 victory. It was powered by JJ McCarthy's impressive debut. The game was defined by this team's resilience. Erasing a 17-6 deficit in the fourth quarter in enemy territory is not easy, and JJ McCarthy threw for 2 touchdowns and ran for another, making history as the first player with 3 touchdowns in the fourth quarter of an NFL debut, and earning NFC Offensive Player of the Week despite some debate from outsiders. Let's look at some of the key stats from this game. JJ McCarthy was 13 for 20, so pretty efficient, especially when you consider that it took him a little bit to get going. He threw for 143 yards and had a 2-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio, and also a 14-yard rushing touchdown. Overall, I think when you take everything into consideration for what this game was and how it was away, he had a bunch of jitters kind of to start things out in the first quarter. I think JJ played really well, and you couldn't have really asked for much more, and he's going to get better as the season continues. As for the receivers, Justin Jefferson had 4 receptions for 44 yards and a touchdown. He made an impact in multiple areas because he did open up opportunities for other players around the field. Aaron Jones actually had 3 receptions with 44 yards and a touchdown. And then Will the Thrill was 2 of 2 on field goals. His long was 59 yards, which tied the Soldier Field record. And then Caleb Williams for the Bears, he was 21 of 35. That's not the efficiency you want to see if you're a Bears fan. Credit to the Vikings defense. I'm going to talk about that a little bit. He had 210 yards, 1 passing touchdown, 1 rushing touchdown. But Chicago also committed 12 penalties for 127 yards. Minnesota was the more disciplined team, and that is why they ultimately were able to get that comeback win. Chicago kind of just shot themselves in the foot over and over again, but the Vikings still had to capitalize, and they did. Real fast before I continue on, I want to give a big thanks to the sponsor of today's video, DraftKings Sportsbook. The NFL season is officially here, and I don't want you to miss out on any of the action. And right now, DraftKings has an amazing offer for you. If you bet just $5, you will get $200 instantly in bonus bets. And if you love the thrill of live betting, DraftKings has got you covered. You can bet on live games in progress as they happen. But the only way to take advantage of this amazing offer is by using my promo code SpencerPremier. Again, that's promo code SpencerPremier to get $200 instantly in bonus bets for placing a $5 bet. So thank you to DraftKings for sponsoring this video. The next great touchdown is coming. You can bet on it. Again, that is code SpencerPremier to get $200 instantly in bonus bets. And if sports betting is not yet available in your state, don't worry. You can still join in on all the fun with DraftKings Daily Fantasy Sports, and you can have a shot to win real cash prizes. And as always, please gamble responsibly. Now getting back to the video and back to some more Vikings talk, let's kind of talk about some of the key plays from last week and kind of how they can roll over the success into week 2. One big play that I highlighted was McCarthy's pick six to Nash and Wright that gave Chicago a 17-6 lead in the third quarter, because that could have been like the breaking point that really made the Vikings go downhill, and it could have been a domino effect. But nope, they stayed resilient. JJ McCarthy did not let the mental side of things get to him. He really just stayed locked in. He almost forgot it even happened, and that's what you have to have. You have to have a short memory to be successful in this league, especially as a young player. And obviously, he bounced back and went on to make that comeback that really just stunned everyone. One huge sequence, probably the biggest sequence of the game, came in the fourth quarter when McCarthy hit Jefferson for a 13 to 14 yard TD, and then quickly after, he followed that up with a 27-yard touchdown to Aaron Jones, and he finally ran in that 14-yard TD to put Minnesota up by 10 late, and pretty much by then, the Bears and their fans were just shell-shocked. They didn't know what hit them. That was the sequence of the game, and obviously I kind of talked about it in the intro. That's pretty much all JJ McCarthy did. Everything he did in this game came in the fourth quarter, but that was what was so amazing about it. I would say another big moment for the Bears was when they responded with a Rome Odunze touchdown, but they pretty much ran out of time by then, so it is what it is. As for the defensive standouts and the injuries, Blake Cashman did have a hamstring injury. Hopefully he's good to go. I don't know what his status is. I'll have to look. Jeff Okudah was obviously evaluated for concussion, and then Harrison Smith missed the game due to illness, and then Christian Darrisaw was inactive. Kevin O'Connell had nothing but praise to say about McCarthy's poise, and he actually predicted the comeback at halftime, and I think that really boosted his confidence, and it was just huge because, again, JJ McCarthy's young. He needs all the confidence that he can get, no matter where it comes from. And then ESPN's Michael Wilbon had nothing but praise for McCarthy's resilience, while Jared Allen praised Chicago's early effort and noted the Vikings' timely advantage through the Bears' late collapse. I think despite what some people are saying, and there's not many, but I did see a few comments, I think that JJ McCarthy definitely earned Player of the Week, Offensive Player of the Week that is, just because of what he did in one quarter. I mean, it was just crazy impressive. It was clutch. All the odds were stacked against him. I think his performance in the fourth quarter alone pretty much outdoes anything anybody else did in all the games across the league. And then I'm not sure how many of you guys follow this. I know some people hate it, but overall he had a solid PFF grade, and the advanced metrics gave solid reviews and highlighted areas for growth and consistency. Alright, now let's talk about week 2. Let's talk about the game coming up in just a few hours by the time I post this video. The Vikings will be facing the Atlanta Falcons, who lost a close opener against Tampa Bay. As a Browns fan, it pained me because after the Browns lost on a missed field goal, it was just stupid how they lost. I can't even believe it. Mathematically, it should have been impossible. But immediately after that, Fox Sports panned over to the Tampa Bay game, and I got to watch Baker Mayfield lead another game-winning drive. It is just brutal to be a Browns fan. But that's besides the point. That's not what this video is about. Minnesota opens this game up as a 3.5-point favorite, but they will definitely be tested by Atlanta's high-powered run game and emerging quarterback in Michael Penix Jr., who's kind of starting to find his stride. I think this is going to be a good year for him, and he has the weapons he needs around him. In terms of the key threats that Atlanta has, obviously Bijan Robinson is the guy that everyone's going to be talking about. He is their superstar. He's a dangerous dual threat. He had 12 carries and 6 catches for 100 plus yards and a TD in the opener, and he had success versus the Vikings' weaker run defense last year. Michael Penix Jr. threw for 298 yards with a touchdown last week, and the Vikings must apply a ton of pressure up front to try to disrupt his timing behind a banged up Falcons receiving core. So in terms of the offensive focus for the Vikings, again, I'm not an expert, this is just my opinion, so let me know in the comments below if there's anything I missed out, but I think McCarthy's ball security and comfort against coverage must improve, and it's going to. I mean, it was only game 1. He has so much time to improve, so much time to fix his mistakes, and just continue to get better. Atlanta's probably going to use AJ Terrell to shadow Justin Jefferson, who has thrived against the Falcons historically with 16 catches, 298 yards, and 4 TDs in 2 games. I believe that's his stat line. I'm just kind of looking on this website though, not sure if it's completely accurate, so please don't come at me in the comments below if it's a few yards off or something. And then also, I think the Vikings are going to need more production from the run game in terms of Aaron Jones and Ty Chandler. I know that Aaron Jones was really productive in the passing game, but I think the Vikings are going to need to pound the rock and just establish the physicality from the jump to balance the attack. So the keys to victory will be bottling up Robinson with the linebackers and safeties, filling the run lanes, and they need to avoid giving up explosive plays as much as they can. I think the pass rush, led by Dallas Turner, Turner and Jonathan Grenard must disrupt Penix as much as possible, and they need to force hurried throws to get that one mistake that could be the turning point in the game. And then I think the offense should definitely exploit matchups away from Terrell. They should use play action, and they need to keep drives alive to avoid a defensive slugfest. That is not the type of game that the Vikings should want to play. Let me know what you think the Vikings need to do to get a dub. Let me know what you thought about week 1 and JJ McCarthy's comeback win. Let me know if you think JJ McCarthy is the future of this franchise. I think he certainly is, and I am glad the Vikings made the move to go to him full time instead of sticking with Sam Darnold. That was definitely the right move in hindsight, because he's a rookie, and I think Sam Darnold was kind of capped off. JJ McCarthy played so well in Michigan. He's just a winner, man. That's what he is. But yeah, that's all I got for this one. Let me know what you thought about this video in the comments below. If you enjoyed, please be sure to drop a like and subscribe. Drop your score predictions in the comments as well. And until next time, I will see you all later.